Happy birthday to you.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Sandra. Happy birthday to you. Eat it in one bite or else
Because of this guy.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
No,
You
yeah.
guys are the best.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
blow it all out.
Let's make a wish. Hold on.
Yeah, don't say it, just make a wish.
Yeah,
Ay.
one blow or else you're...
Yeah, that still stands.
Let your rules
Oh, God. Well,
Yay. Thank you, guys.
your wish will come
Look,
through in
it's so
3
pretty.
installments, I guess.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, I get to
That's
wear
funny.
all of this?
Wait, isn't there more?
And welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network by Cinephiles for Cinephiles. Welcome back to Request Month.
Yes.
January is Request Month at the WatchTower Film Podcast. And if you haven't guessed by the decor and personnel, very lovely personnel, as we mentioned last week, we're doing a birthday episode for my lovely wife. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Happy birthday.
And in the spirit of Request Month, I actually think
Birthday to you.
that's fuck. We did
You
that.
know.
Keep it going.
I do think
You
in
look like a monkey.
I think that's how Request Month started.
Smell
Kind of
like one, too.
like she was like, "Oh, do I get to pick a film for my birthday?"
Oh, yeah.
and we're
that's
like,
probably-
"Yeah." And then we're like, "Well, we should probably just do a whole month." And then
Yeah.
that's how it came about.
Would you like to mention which movie?
Yes, which film?
We are
Happy
doing
birthday.
Like water for chocolate, como agua para chocolate.
Alfonso Arauz, 1992
Yes.
film.
I needed to watch
romantic
this,
drama.
man.
Yeah. Before we continue to talk about the film, I got to introduce my fellow co-host, Mr. Michael Lalau, offering a cinematography perspective.
¿Cómo estás?
Look at him in the spirit of the film, huh?
Smells good, bro.
Hey, yo, you guys been watching the movie too long. Separate from each
Hey,
other.
man, there's nothing wrong with a man telling another man you smell good.
You could be my little chocolate.
Mr. John Eric Castro offering an acting perspective and looking impeccable because he came straight from set.
Yeah,
like
he's-
He looks like
looks
chocolate.
the
Look at
Hope
him.
you like
He looks
it.
like chocolate.
Yeah, I just came off a set. I had to do this podcast. I hope that I don't look too.
Not gastro today.
Yeah, I don't look too much
Yeah.
of
This is how
a.
you should dress
It's-
every podcast.
Yeah,
It's really a downgrade
Kind of
from
like
your
when the
normal
Laws started wearing
sweatpants.
button-ups.
it's just. I mean, for me, the podcast, to come with the homies, relax,
it's
have
a-
film.
Is that what it is mentally? You just feel like it's a more cash thing, and right now it feels like you're
I
at
feel
your-
for this, for
your
the
Thea's
WatchTower,
birthday.
it should be chill, and then for the Towercast, it should be more.
That's true.
formal.
On the Towercast, we're like we have special guests. We have like wear
Exactly.
blazers and we do the whole
Yeah.
nine.
Exactly.
But
But anyway, yes, John Eric Costa, your acting connoisseur.
And Mr. Austin Young, make sure we're sounding good on the ones and twos over there.
I love that guy. Something about it.
Sporting a Diablo's cap.
The Diablo's cap. Hey, all cam mics are on, right?
Yes,
So he has a voice,
He has a voice.
correct?
he has many things.
Like what?
He has
Opportunities.
an editor's eye. He has
Keep going.
the aforementioned Diablo's hat. He has I forgot what baseball team it is, but it looks like a Whataburger hat. You know that
That's
one?
right.
He actually has a really nice collection of hats.
Yep.
Yep.
He's also a great friend.
He's
He's just shy for some reason.
I'm just making sure the lovely public can hear him.
Yeah.
Because the Ursa mic will pick him up.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Hi.
And then my lovely wife.
Yes.
Sandra, happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Wow,
I'm
I can't
excited
believe
and
it's
nervous.
today.
Offering
Late.
It's tomorrow, actually.
Oh.
When this
Tomorrow.
podcast releases, it's tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like water for chocolate.
Yes.
So this film's based on a novel
Based on
written
a true
by the
story?
same person who wrote the screenplay, Laura Esquivel. She wrote the screenplay. She wrote the novel. Very famous novel in Mexico.
Yeah, once I posted the picture that I'm watching this film, I was like, read the book. Way better.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, okay. Yeah,
I think
really
my
like
wife
the
would agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
she was married to the director at the time, which is why this got made. And then they divorced 3 years later. So,
Hollywood.
There's a lot of kind of crazy situations with this film. For instance, it was Mexico's submission for the Oscars, and it didn't get in.
Wow.
They were like, nope.
Yeah, like,
We're
it was
good.
the only one from Mexico, or
Yeah.
and it didn't.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
And it didn't get in, so it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. At the time, the international releases that it was competing against. The crazy thing is that it didn't get nominated for any Oscars, but it was the highest grossing foreign language film of that year.
Okay.
And it was up against Cinema Paradiso.
Oh, but I mean, still to get
naturally, Cinema
nominated.
Paradiso won the Oscar that year.
Of course, yeah.
Paradiso feels so much older.
92?
Really?
agree
Wait,
with
that's
you.
the year I was born. You just called me.
No,
no,
I'm saying the film feels
They feel
like,
older. They feel dated, right?
yeah, film-wise, I thought it was like a 80s.
2010 just feels
I
old,
mean,
you know.
I don't know about you guys. Sandra might have more input on this than any of us, or than I at least. I don't know any other Mexican cinema at the time that was really doing amazingly. In fact, this was, the 90s were very much novella culture is getting adopted heavily because TVs are in homes. And that's kind of the standard for Mexican entertainment,
Well, what year? I think 97 was Amores Perros.
Yeah, so exactly right. That indie boom hits Mexico like a train.
Oh.
Right, the indie boom gets you the Three Amigos, it gets you
Right.
Amores Perros, it gets you Y Tu Mamá También, Solo con Tu Pareja, it gets you just all these great kind of indie films. The 90s definitely did the late 90s. This
Late
was
90s.
92. It was kind of getting started, and also it's also important to note, if you look at Alfonso Arauz's filmography, he didn't do much of impact. He did some Mexican films that they're comedies and they're kind of relative novellas as well, relatively kind of popular in Mexico, but not impactful, not international,
never
definitely not
crossed over.
international. And this got an international release because of Miramax. So Miramax gave it a life outside of
push,
Mexico.
yeah.
And they weren't doing that with Mexican cinema a ton. Even what we just mentioned, Amores Perros, Y Tu Mamá También, all of these films didn't get love at first outside of Mexico.
Outside of Mexico.
Eventually, they got a following and got Oscar buzz and stuff like that, but they didn't believe in Mexican cinema just yet. So for Miramax to kind of pick this up, it's the same kind of syndrome that we fall into even in today's day and age. It's intellectual property. It's based on a very famous, popular book.
Right.
So of course you're going to get that novel and make it into a movie and hope that it does well. And the book was known internationally. The book did have a big following. So, and again, it's the one that makes the most money, but gets no awards kind of love. I'm conflicted about that because as much as I love this film, as much as I watched and have rewatched it ever since, actually Sandra showed it to me for the first time probably during the pandemic, maybe.
Oh, really?
And
Got you into it.
yeah, and I love it. I think it's a great film. I do think that in terms of filmmaking merit, though, it's lacking substantially. Because I just don't think the director was an experienced director to get behind this thing. It's that whole notion behind, a director only here because he's married to writer,
But when you say that,
yeah.
it
Do you
still
mean it?
accomplished something.
Oh,
Yeah.
what did it accomplish for you? You think?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
I'll give you my rating.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it was loved, especially by Mexicans. Now it's a
Cult classic
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Cult classic, right?
True.
And that can mean a bunch of different things.
Right.
I just think that cult classic. I think we kind of come back to the conversation we were having about the Truman Show. It comes and gets you. It gets you right in the nostalgia.
Yeah.
It comes to get you because you remember watching it with family or growing up or this or that and the third.
Or the
And
impact
I'm
it
not
had.
saying that the film doesn't have any merit, but I think all of the merit lies in the story.
Yeah.
Which is based on a book written by the writer that wrote the screenplay. So I just think if it's directing, it lacks
No,
substantially.
yeah. With me, just as I'm a beginning director, crossing over into that, I just kind of get offended when people say that.
Why?
Because it still did something beautiful. Sandra loves it. Sandra showed it to
It's
you.
not
But
it's
I
not
also-
easy.
But
It's
I
not easy
understand.
to
I
make
understand
a movie.
that.
Well, maybe to
the
not
director.
the film lover like me. I don't
Uh-huh.
consider myself. I mean, I love movies. Yes,
Yeah.
you've gotten me into movies, but like I'm not an expert whatsoever. I don't know
Right.
the little things to look for. So to me,
Exactly.
it did the job, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
that's such a great
But-
movie based on the book that I love.
And I think like when you come from a more like technical background,
Right.
I think then we see departments and what is
Sure,
the department
exactly.
doing well, and there.
No. Don't say.
As a director, though, the first department you see right off the bat is performances,
Yeah.
and some of the performances lacked heavily.
Yeah.
That's directing, man. That's mostly directing. Is
But where I
how
get kind
can
of
you
like
judge
stuck
the
or-
performances? of
is
these
where it's
characters?
like you're like, well, it didn't really accomplish anything in the world of cinema, but it was a good film that had
No,
a good
because
book.
again, there's a difference, and it's really hard.
This isn't the. It had some good quirks for a little movie podcast. This is a cinema podcast.
Yeah.
True.
You're not wrong. You're right to have empathy.
trying to defend this guy 'cause he did-
You're right to have empathy for other
But I
storytellers,
appreciate where
right?
you guys are coming from.
You,
when it's
you
like-
do have a right. We all have a right to be empathetic to other storytellers who gave it a fucking shot, right? Who
Right,
went and did
exactly.
it. But you know, it's one of those weird things where I kind of mentioned this in the last episode. I get frustrated because it's such a damn fucking good story, and it feels like a waste to an extent. Like when you feel like a film could have been substantially better,
Yeah.
and not just better
No,
by
I'm
like
starting to
it's
understand
not
that.
8.5, not just by those standards, but by standards of like that. That's what they wasted. They wasted the first one on this, and then like even you watch the series. They just released a series this year. Like it just released.
Really?
Last year, 2024.
Well, right, you're right. It just released,
Check
and
it
Sandra
out.
literally was watching it as they released the episodes. Like it was,
Yeah.
it just came out, and I watched the first couple episodes with her, and I was like, okay, cool. It's shot beautifully. The performances are there. It's good. It's good within the series kind of mantra, but it does feel like the way something like maybe like Narcos makes you feel in the sense of like international series. You know what I'm saying? It's got that flair. It's got that sense of danger and that sense of drama. But at the end of the day, it's a series.
No,
You know,
yeah.
it's not cinema. So yeah, it's just that's just where I'm coming from. Where it's like I mentioned in the last episode that Sandra was always like when we discovered that there was a series, she was like, "Oh man, I always thought you were going to be the one to remake this movie." And
Oh,
I've
you did say
always
that. You
wanted
did tell that.
to. Like that would have been. I mean, it still can be done. Maybe in a few years.
No movie hasn't been made. I don't
No,
think
no remake of a film has been made. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's waiting for you guys. Just saying.
Yeah, I
mean,
again,
how
I
many
just
times
love the
do they
story
do-
so much. I think the story has so much potential. It's such an original take on blending culture with emotion and what does that mean, and at the same time being a commentary on stuff like gender and stuff like tradition and
Tradition,
you know,
that's a big one.
and forbidden love and all sorts of themes. I think the story is where this heart is at, or this film, or this story, the book, the interpretation, but.
I feel you. I
Shit,
just,
man, like
you know,
it could have been
I
something
think
there.
Well, do you blame it for? I mean, it was a 1982 film.
That's where
Was
I've always
it,
come
like,
in, but they
do you
always tell me
think
that
the resources were limited?
No,
Because I just saw Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon made in 1950 last night, so I
You're
don't think
with
it's
me
a.
now. I'm understanding these guys.
Yeah.
That was me
Okay,
like
fine.
a year ago for sure.
What were you to say, Lilo?
Yeah.
I feel like also in elements of the film where you would have. I mean, the drama is so juicy
Heavy-handed,
and it's
yeah.
so heavy-handed.
Oh, at every point except Austin. At every point, everybody except Austin during the screening was yelling at the fucking screen like it was a novela.
Yeah.
Like you gotta put that. You know, like this was everybody fucking here.
like,
It was great seeing
But I
that.
still love him, and I'm like,
three,
you
you know,
slut,
from four
you know?
guys. Right?
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
No, the drama's punchy. The drama's there.
The drama's punchy.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like, as a director, you know how to control the waves. You know,
absolutely.
You know when to punch, but you know when to pull back. You know, people who use like comedic relief, it's usually to like say like, if I leave you in a state of tension for too long
Yeah.
in a scene, then the audience is going to be numbed out and they're not going
Yeah.
to be able to feel the punches later on. So you need to have some kind of like comedic break. And I think it's funny because I would notice moments where it's like, okay, it's getting kind of heavy, but we need to pull back a little
Yeah.
bit. But then sometimes the comedy was almost heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And like I felt so bad But when we're going and having this serious conversation about like, oh, but you know, you might be pregnant with Pedro's son, and it's crazy. And then you hear that the sister dies from farting, and it's like, oh, damn it! Like I was,
It's
the
very,
wave was.
it's a
not
very interesting
turned.
blend. I will say this: make no mistake, most Mexican cinema, not modern Mexican cinema, any good Mexican cinema, the golden age of Mexican cinema is considered the 1950s. Okay, very similar to American cinema. This was your Pedro Infante. This was your
okay.
Cantinflas era. This was your, when that. And I named a prominently musical actor and a prominently comedic actor. Okay, so the genres didn't matter. It was just good Mexican cinema. Make no mistake, it's melodrama. Any drama is melodrama in classic Mexican cinema, and this falls into that. This is melodrama. But it's melodrama done extremely well. It's melodrama that makes you feel like you're watching Gone with the Wind or you're reading a good novel. That's good melodrama. Where contemporary Mexican cinema, like Amores Perros y Tu Mamá También, it's its own thing. It's not melodrama as much as it is taking from American elements of American cinema and French cinema of deeper contextual artistic choices to make highbrow cinema.
Yeah.
This is melodrama. Make no mistake. Mexican cinema, good Mexican cinema is melodrama. It's based on novelas. Novelas that work. Novelas that make people go, that's what like water for chocolate is. Make
I
no
had a couple
mistake.
of those moments.
Yeah.
You had plenty.
Is that a good thing in cinema? Is that a bad thing in cinema? Well, that's up for discussion, and we should probably kick this off with our ratings.
La mamá.
So, because it's your birthday, babe, you get to decide who gives her ratings first and in what order. We go.
Ooh, you're not gonna like my rating, but
Oh, no.
Oh.
Will it become of the dude?
Oh.
You
Well,
gotta
I
put this guy
feel
close to
okay.
you.
Now I want to know what Eric's rating was because
wanna
okay,
start
I
with him?
think he was the most reactive to this film. Like,
To the mom
he was
character,
so
for
upset
sure.
At the mom, like he was like
Oh,
into
but
it.
this was everybody's first time watching it,
yeah,
right?
first time for sure.
So
Okay.
that's part
First
of
time-
it. Everybody hates them on the first
first
time.
time, last time.
First time.
All right, yeah, I think yours first.
Oh man, Sandra. I might have to give it another look, but for my first watch, I'll probably give it a 7.8. Still passing. I liked a lot of it.
Is 5 like?
Yeah,
or-
just
what's,
say
what's
grading
passing?
system.
What's passing?
It's like grading system.
7, right? Like
okay,
7
okay.
is probably
That's
quote unquote
fine.
passing.
So 7.8. You
I also
know,
think it's not that.
I just, I like the story. Obviously, very complex, but I just get annoyed when, the whole culture and tradition. I don't know how to explain that. It's just like, who cares if your mom doesn't want you to get married? Get married. I'm from that. you know?
Yeah.
So that was kind
So
of
you're not mad at the film. You're mad
Exactly,
at the
exactly.
tradition,
At the
at the
mom.
mom.
Yeah, but I also think that helps to like connect you more with the story
Yeah, it
as
helps
far
to
as
bring
like
you in.
For sure. That's why I had
because-
a lot of reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you, especially that whole scene where the daughter's been married and then she goes to San Antonio and then it's just the youngest there with the mom and the mom just is complaining at every way that she's taking care of her.
Yeah.
Right.
Then that's meant to make everybody feel like screw this tradition and
Yeah.
screw whatever the mom believes is right because this is awful. Like you don't treat
yeah,
a
yeah,
person
yeah.
like
So
that.
should that be contributed to my rating, or is
Oh,
this?
absolutely. Well,
No,
I mean,
no.
look,
It's just more that should like let you know that the feelings you were having are
I
probably
wonder if
very
that
did a good
justified.
job
informs.
at-
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put it up to 8.2 then.
8.2. Yeah, because it did. I mean, what's my philosophy, our philosophy in cinema now is that if it made you feel something, it succeeded. Right?
Yeah.
If it made you feel whatever it made you feel,
Story
it's
for sure.
essentially
Some of the
succeeded.
acting was kind of wonky.
Sure.
That's my favorite word.
Wonky.
But yeah, I'll give it an 8.2 just for a great story, semi acting, and cinematography. I gotta hear Michael's. But yeah, 8.2.
All right, Michael. What about you?
What about me, Sandra?
Everything about you.
I know.
You had some reactions too.
I had a lot of reactions.
Yeah.
You were zoned in. You were like, you didn't take your eye off the screen at
Yeah.
all.
No, it's
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun. I had a good
You
time.
hit that word.
No, I had a really good time with the film. That's why instantly afterwards I'm like, I need to get Meg here because I know that me and her would have been screaming the
Yeah,
whole
show
time.
this to your girlfriend.
Yeah. Like she would have been like, pause, wait.
She would love it.
She what? Yeah, like I know that she would be dying
Definitely.
over
Shout
this
out to
film.
Meg.
Yeah. Shout out to Meg.
Yeah.
Mi amor.
Man, this film's got you in the feels, dog.
It got me
He's
somewhere.
gonna go home
know.
and cook
Yeah.
some what is it?
Some gornices.
I had some
Fucking-
rough shrimp and now I'm just
Pétalos de
rosa.
Yeah.
I had some spicy
So
shrimp.
what's your
and it made me
rating there,
feel
Spice
things.
Boy? Spice Girl?
Okay. I want to give it a spicy, controversial 7.4.
Okay.
That's fair.
I feel like
Totally fair.
Again, we talk about films that succeed in what it's doing, and again, I think because of how strong the story is,
Yeah.
it's hard for anybody not to, like feel something when
Yeah.
watching it and have a very visceral reaction. Plus, I think it's also a very powerful film that, like, despite a language barrier, you instantly connect with the characters and the tones and the
Yeah, for
motifs
sure.
and everything, and it's not hard. Like, I feel like it punches harder because we live in like
The border.
the border region,
And that's where this takes place. It takes place on the border of Rio Grande and Eagle Pass, right? This is right.
Piedras Negras.
Piedras Negras, Piedras Negras and Eagle Pass, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like even though it hits harder because of here, I feel like every culture could watch this film or like look at the story
Yeah.
and think of the conflict of like old traditions and what that means, and also like the new
Immediately.
traditions and breaking out of like a family culture that you feel is either tainted
Toxic
or toxic and all that. So, and I feel like you look at every culture and they have that. They have that in
Absolutely.
the young generation fighting the old generation, and
Very
there's
true.
always the family members that want to upkeep that, and the other ones that feel like no, like our parents were dumb for wanting to like push that on us.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think it's almost universal, and that's the great thing about the film.
Yeah.
I do feel like in the I'm curious, like similar, like you were curious about the cinematography rating. I'm really curious about the acting rating because I mean I saw a lot of moments that I'm like it's a little goofy, but maybe that's just me overthinking it. But
Same with me, like with John. I was just like, okay,
The doctor? Dr. Brown?
Dr. John
Brown.
oh my
Yes.
gosh,
Doc Brown.
What if you're gonna write a script, or I'm assuming the book's the same, but
Jean.
you're just gonna name the white man the whitest name you could possibly give it. Oh, John.
That's like Castro. Just call me Castro,
Yeah.
bro.
no, but on the cinematography front, I feel like it was very like
Careful with your words here.
What? I was thinking, well, like, what is this guy seeing? Like, because I wasn't
no.
seeing.
To me, it's very like it gets the job done, but it doesn't do anything extra.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where I'm like, I don't feel like there were any bad shots. I think everything like was fair. They got their coverage.
Fair.
But there was a lot of moments, like you said. I think under better direction, they could have taken certain moments and really added to the magic of it all.
Yeah.
And I think that here they were just kind of
Got
like,
the neck twitch now, man.
like on this scene, we're gonna start talking about the food, so zoom in on the food. Oh, this scene we're talking about the sister.
Yeah,
zoom in
it's-
for
it's
reaction shot.
coverage, right?
It's just
I'll
Well,
give
why
it a
don't
little
you
more
do your
merit.
own, like,
I'll
talk
defend it a little bit on the cinematography, not just because it's Shivo, but if I had to guess, and I didn't do a ton of research on this, and there really wasn't much out there anyways to begin with. If I had to guess, it was being safe, but it was emulating stuff. Like I saw influence of, I hope maybe I'm wrong. I saw influence from like the wedding scenes, any of the parting scenes, like The Godfather. The Godfather
yeah.
wedding, you know,
and
you saw a lot of that.
there was a lot of classic cinema lighting. I'll give it that. Like
Yes.
there was moments where you would see like the light shine on the eyes.
Gone
and the
with
reaction.
the Wind.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This felt to me like a Mexican Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
And Gone with the Wind is, again, melodrama, hair light, Hollywood hair light, them dancing in silhouette, the fire scenes and the flames, and the desert shots were beautiful. Were absolutely beautiful, especially the kind of the sunsets and the sunrises. All classic Hollywood lighting, all classic Hollywood kind of tells. But I don't think just because of the time frame, I do think that it caters to that. The melodrama caters to a classic Hollywood kind of approach to it. And again, I also don't think Mexican cinema or much cinema was taking risks in the early 90s. So is it a product of their time? Maybe. But this was... Emmanuel Lubezki, Chivo's first thing out. And it was a co-DP effort.
Okay,
and
kinda
one of the
makes sense
DPs
then.
was American. Steve Bernstein, who we talked to on this podcast.
Oh,
Go check
really?
that episode out. That was great. He was the co-DP. He talks about
Whoa.
meeting Chivo for the first time. You talked to him, Castor.
No, but I forgot it.
Yeah.
He was
Steve
cold.
Bernstein was on this. He's a director now, but Steve Bernstein commented on working on like Water for Chocolate
Yeah.
and meeting Chivo and how Chivo was just this kid out of college and
Yeah,
like
I do remember.
you know like just like he wasn't Chivo. He was some punk kid who they didn't trust. That's why they brought me on to like oversee what he's doing. And then I think he said that Chivo was on for a few weeks and then Chivo flew off to something, maybe something for Cuarón. I think he did como tu pareja, solo con tu pareja with Cuarón. So he was kind of already becoming Chivo and having a voice. But this was safe, right? This was safe. This was a safe studio kind of bet.
I understand what you're saying with that.
So yeah,
It is
I
a
think that's
safe-
where it comes from a bit. But
What's your rating in it all?
Oh.
I'm somewhere similar. I want to go to about a 7.7 on this. I'll be at a 7.7 because again, you're absolutely right though. I think you hit the nail on the head when you say the story's too powerful to. You can forgive a lot of elements because of the story.
What you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah,
Like
you can
there were
forgive.
shots that were like out of focus.
Yeah.
But the framing and the composition and the moment
Yeah.
all came together so well that you
emotion.
really didn't care.
Yeah,
You know?
no, you didn't care,
True.
and again, what's more is you're so enveloped with these characters, you're rooting
True.
for them that
Because I really didn't notice, but yeah, that's true.
exactly. I could
That
give a
was a-
shit if that's happening, right? On the technical front, and I'm not a very technical movie viewer. I don't think like technical, like technology, what's in focus, what's not. I could give a shit, but. Again, being enveloped in the story and enveloped and then invested in these characters,
Is a
if
little
a
bit more
film can
important.
make me do that, you got me.
Yeah.
So I think I'm at about a 7.7, a little bit higher, because it does have substantial merit there. Interestingly enough, similar to the title character, the main character Tita, and what she does with food for people, how she makes people feel her emotions through food. I think the writing made us do that. I think the writing could communicate enough to make us feel what the writer's feeling with the directing lacking.
Let me ask you a question. I always kind of pick your brains. Do you consider this a formulaic?
Oh, that's interesting. No,
No,
because Mexican cinema already has one in that regard. Mexican cinema, according to formulas that we know of American cinema, it wins because it doesn't do that. There's still cursing in this film. There's still nudity without it being, it's already ahead of the game by not being so formulaic in certain instances. It's formulaic in what it's trying to do cinematically. The lighting, like we talked about, some of the cinematography, some of the direction. It is formulaic in that regard a bit. But because it's got the freedom of being made in Mexico and Mexican cinema and being a Mexican film, it already is eons ahead of formulas because they have a little more freedom to with language and
I see what
with
you're
topics and with certain situations. So I don't think so. I don't think this film's overwhelming. If it is, it's not overwhelmingly formulaic.
Because I didn't see it, but I was just like, okay, let me see if I'm wrong with this.
No, I
Right,
don't think so. I don't think it
certain
falls
elements
into
probably,
tropes. I think if you want to call it this, but even the story, and again, I think that's why the story is so powerful because it doesn't fall. The story itself doesn't fall into the classical tropes of a love story. I don't think so. Especially, so somebody farts to death for crying out loud, and there's the forbidden love aspect. The fact that. He dies immediately after ejaculating for having being with this guy. I mean, there's no
That is true.
tropes, like direct tropes.
Yeah. Also, even the ending, if the big trope would have been if it was just like
Happily ever after.
Yeah, like the you finally got to experience this love that you've been holding out for all this time, and in a weird way, it's almost like the clouds settled. Like his kid, who would have been the main priority if the wife wasn't there, they got married, so they're going off to live their life. Because they got married within the family, he has every reason to be around her.
Yeah.
His wife died of natural-ish causes, and
to be fair, back in the day, that's how most people die.
Yeah.
Take it. Well, that's true. taken from a guy who writes these things
People 40.
predominantly. Yeah, not the farts. No, romance dramas.
Right.
You can either, if you're not careful, you're going to fall into one of two endings. You're going to fall into the Disney ending, happily ever after.
Right.
Or you're going to fall into the Edith Wharton ending. You know who Edith Wharton is? Edith Wharton wrote novels. She was very famous. She wrote things like Pride and Prejudice. She wrote
I'm starting to get a little bit of
the Scorsese film with Daniel Day-Lewis. Gosh, I love this film. What is it called? Age of Innocence. She wrote She wrote that novel. So she writes these classic New York high society love tales of the guy doesn't get the girl because that's just how it was back then. You fall into those things. Either they don't end up together because fate sucks and life sucks and tough shit, or they end up together happily ever after.
Yeah.
Those are the two tropey endings for any romance drama. This didn't fall on either of those.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So yeah. Rating.
Austin.
The lady of the hour.
Well, wait, I want to hear
Birthday girl?
Austin's first.
Okay.
Yeah.
He could be the birthday girl.
7.1. Any reason for that?
Good story, nothing else really to call home about.
At that time, you couldn't call home. You had to write letters.
I know.
You had to send a horse.
Or like
Or
a
pigeon.
little Mexican man with a briefcase. Like when,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's like, hi. And
letter.
then, the mom came out and he's like, oh, damn.
That was Wells Fargo at the time, you know?
No, it's so funny
What
because
happened in the movie?
yeah, because it was so funny. It was like, go send this to my sister, and it's like, oh, she's there. And it's like, yeah, don't worry about where she's at, buddy. Like,
Just fucking...
yeah, go. And then like the mom
Deliver.
comes out and he has to run with this big briefcase.
But it was her things. Like
Yeah.
all of the things, like
Yeah.
the pictures and the dolls and everything. Yeah.
I know, but poor
7.1.
little man. Like he didn't have a horse. He had nothing. Like,
Well, not there. He was standing next to a carriage. Like, give him a
look
chance.
at that shot again. You know,
You're so concerned about how he got.
I love you, Michael, bro.
Do you think he was crossing the Mexican border with just a brief, just running around? This Oh, the brothel and Eagle Pass. Okay. Yeah, what's your rating, babe?
Yeah,
What's
sorry about
My
that.
rating, not based on any technical aspects like you guys.
yeah. What's the correct answer?
I mean, it just holds a lot of emotional
It sure
weight
does.
on me. Yeah, big time. I saw this movie when I was in high school, which are many, many years ago. And, coming from a Mexican family, being the youngest one, I think I was very impressionable. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to,
can
not
see
get
it. Funny.
married. So I think for me, it holds a very special place in my heart. And I give it, it doesn't follow the book as much. So I'll give it that much.
Why does it always do that?
But I think like a 8.7.
8.7?
Yeah,
Okay,
8.8.
that's
yeah.
fair.
It holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is safe to say one of your favorite films
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Where does this fall on your list?
Oh, it's probably number 2.
Really?
Number 2, number 3, yeah.
Mind you, her favorite film, or number 1, I think.
What is it?
Por
Quiz time?
chocolate como agua.
Yeah. No, Voces Inocentes. It's a film about guerrilla
Yeah.
children, warriors
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
kill each other in the midst of a South American war.
Kinda
It's
sounds
pretty
interesting.
gruesome.
It sounds
It's
interesting, but
very
gruesome.
heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy, yeah.
Hey, but I gotta
Yeah.
ask, like,
Yeah.
coming from a Mexican family and you
Yeah.
being a female,
Yeah. What's that like?
In today's day and age,
no, like, is like your mom or your grandma, or did you ever
the traditionalism.
with you?
Well, very much traditionalist, right? I mean, thankfully, my mom is nothing like,
okay, thank
like what is it, Doña Elena or Señora Elena?
La perra.
Yeah, Castro was really upset. Yeah,
I'm like,
but
As you should. I mean,
that's
it's
amazing. Like to see like your frustration. Like no, go be happy. Like whatever.
Exactly.
Like I mean, that's how I felt when I first saw it. I was like, what is wrong with this lady? But yeah, I mean, I have heard stories from my family and your family too of women just. That's the guy who you're gonna marry, and there's like no
That's that.
love, no, like, who knows if they experience a true love, right? Or,
But do you think that that's still going on, like in los pueblos allá, or that's
Well,
already dying off?
I mean, I hope
Well,
it's
I
dying
didn't.
off.
I didn't
By
get to
all
meet.
means, I hope it's already.
Much. It kind of smoothed out into machismo culture, right? It didn't really.
Oh.
It didn't really live on per se, but it did turn into something more mild, maybe.
Yeah.
But because I feel like that whole concept of the woman being pure and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and the man kind of like being some kind of domineering factor, like there's a little like subtext there.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it in the fact that like very quickly the boy goes with his father, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, we came to take a daughter, and it's like, well, you can't have that one. You can have this one.
But it's
that?
it's like
Yeah.
cattle.
Yeah.
No, but the thing about it too though is that I think we should talk about the irony in this film
Yeah.
and then that character too. You know, she was widowed, and she was taking on a patriarch role.
I need more.
She was taking on the role of a man. And she was being assertive like a man. If you really want to talk about
My mom's the
traditionalism,
kindest lady ever.
but that's why. If you want to talk about traditionalism, women remarry, and the man is the man, and the man runs the ranch, and you know what I'm saying, like that. It's not you and your 3 daughters that are gonna go get the chicken, eggs, and you take care of the ranch and clean. That's not ladylike, quote unquote. That's not. That's kind of, to me, that's kind of the greatest irony of the film. It's like you want your daughters to be ladylike and marry a
never
good man and this
been-
and that. And I mean, that was part of the irony too, right? It's like you fucked around and had an illegitimate daughter too. So there's the other irony. But she, that's why I like the get through this character.
Through these.
I
The
like
redhead?
that. Yeah, the redhead, because she's like, you want to know the truth? You want to know the
I love
cold,
that
hard
part.
truth?
Yes.
There is no cold, hard truth. Just fucking be happy and go
Exactly.
do what you want. But I think that's kind of the irony is that theoretically, I mean, even in traditionalism, that's not what happened, especially not in Mexico. That's not really what. The woman didn't take over the ranch and become
no,
these.
no.
And she wasn't just taking over the ranch. She was like the village matriarchy. Everybody would come to their house for the dinners. She was looking after. And then like Nacha and Dentita became the cooks for the village.
Right.
You know, like they would. She oversaw a little colony. You know, technically, that doesn't happen in Mexico.
I think what does linger, though, going back to Eric's question, is the respect for the parents. Right?
Yeah.
That you saw
Oh, yeah.
Tita very much like, even though like she would get like hit or, sent to whatever
Slapped
place,
and-
slapped, yeah. Like she was always like, se aguantaba, and
Yeah.
she'd be like, sí, mommy, or like, yes, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah.
that. So I think that at least I still call my parents by usted, right?
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, you have to,
it's,
yeah.
exactly. Like you have to, right? There's like some notion that
I
you're
can't
like,
go to my mom and be like, ¿tú qué onda?
no,
Oh, I
never,
can.
right?
What's up, mama?
But I think
no,
there's
yeah.
there's still some stuff that lingers. I mean, thankfully,
Yeah, and I
it's
think-
not, and that's what makes. That's why I love this film, because the culture's there. It's still relevant. Some
Yeah.
pieces of it is relevant. The food. I mean, the Mexican food, we still hold it to very high regard, and
That's a big theme on this film.
yeah,
for
and
sure.
and how like her emotions, her frustration, her love, everything was through the food because it was her outlet.
Yeah.
That was her outlet, and I just think it's a beautiful story. Like, definitely.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of the Mexican kind of traditionalisms still exist and still lie somewhere with us. We have these conversations a lot because we would, like, I never got to meet Sandra's grandma, but, I hear stories of her being the matriarch and going through kind of similar things.
Wow, okay.
And my grandma going through similar things, but my grandma, sure, kind of eventually became the matriarch, but was forced to marry a man she didn't love and have children with him, and then have a second marriage with a man she did love, and then have children with him. But tells us crazy stories of like my grandpa like leaving for the weekend, to go fuck around with other women and be in bars with his friends, and one of his friends was her brother, and her brother was out there seeing her husband fuck around, and then like, if you wanted to make it even more Mexican, this was 1940 60s,
Right.
Mexico, right? Still not this, right? But my grandpa coming home on a horse. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to add
Yeah.
insult to injury. But again, it's those interesting things of like her as a woman had to just sit there and take it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess that's the beauty. That's why I kind of defended the director, because you saw me. I was into the film and made me react.
Yeah.
But I get you guys, man. You guys are assholes.
I think look, this was like, I don't know, 5th time seeing it, so like I had those reactionary moments.
Yeah.
I still have those reactionary moments internally, but I think it's a good kind of payoff at the end of the day if you really harness these emotions, and
For
then
sure,
like
for sure.
the punch at the end is kind of like, well, yeah, fuck it, like
Yeah. That's why I'm not
they got
mad
where they
that
needed
you
to
guys
get.
made me watch. It's good.
Yeah.
If you guys could play one character, a woman character, right? Because you only have Pedro Musquiz or Dr. John Brown as men.
Pedro
But
Musquiz.
like, given, let's say if you could be a woman for a day,
I want to be the fiery one who ran out naked.
who would you be? Who would you like to play? I think
I'd be the redhead.
Gertrude.
Yeah.
The one that keeps it, says
That's
it how it is.
sprinted.
And then she became a general, right?
became like a
that
general.
also shows to like
A Mexican
yeah.
Revolution general.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one.
It's a good question. I really, really like, despite
Oh, I know which one. Sorry.
the, I don't know if I would play him, but I really like the John character. I really like that character. I really like.
Let's talk about it.
The
Dr.
performance
Brown.
is interesting to say the least, but it's also, he also brings this authenticity to the role, authenticity to
Of-
the character of Dr.
Of
John
a
Brown.
doctor, and then eventually cares enough that he falls in love with this girl.
Yeah. I think there's I think there's just an authenticity to his quirkiness as a white man who loves Mexican culture and Mexican people, and so much so that he learns the language and talks it very pocho and very like, you know,
have to watch it again, 'cause-
but is again brings this warmth to the character, this warmth that this family desperately needs, this peace for Tita that she never had, and I really like that character.
Also, the fact that character is really kind of like a saving grace for Tita,
Yeah.
but because
No, oh my god.
no, like he's removed from the culture.
Yeah.
He comes from a
Yeah,
family.
imagine the mom trying to talk to this character. Like, he'd be like, "Okay, dude, I could fuck off."
he'd
Like,
be that kind of like helping hand to be like, hey, I know you're in this weird situation. Like, he even brings it up earlier when I think Tita tells him like, oh no, I'm not supposed to get married. Like, as the youngest, I need to wait around.
and then he was like,
he's
"How ridiculous!" in front of everybody.
Like, that's stupid. Like, you know,
He's the only one that could do that.
yeah.
The one that really showed me his personality, and this is where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
come on, guy, is when the girl's telling him that every time you leave, I think of him. But when I'm with you, I'm calm.
Yeah.
I'm all this.
Yeah.
She's literally telling the guy,
If he's around, you're fucked.
I'm basically not attracted to you, dude.
No, that's not what she's saying.
Yeah.
basically
That's
just say-
definitely not what she's saying.
That's why I took it. It's like, yo,
Like-
I'm just calm with you because you've been taking care of me.
Gastro took it
There's
as like,
no
man, you're
lust.
such a rad like brother
there's
I never had.
Yeah, you think she friend zoned him, right?
No,
like,
yeah, oh, for sure.
Nah.
The guy's coming out there
Well,
playing.
no, I can see that. I can see what you're saying. I can definitely see what you're saying.
she
But
would've been like,
no,
I
but
love-
she's saying this is a different kind of love. Like the love I feel for you is
Come
no.
on,
Think
brother.
about it. This is very deep. The love she feels for Brown. It's so weird to call him Doc Brown.
Yeah. I got myself too.
Great Scott.
Great Scott.
No, but the love she feels for him is
21.21.
pure. It's pure. It's pure. It's
His.
No, for him.
No.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. It's more pure.
It's one of those that you've been taking care of me, so I'm.
No,
Grateful.
because
No. She doesn't feel sorry for him.
No, but to the almost threatening that line.
No, because he represents a freedom from, again,
Yeah.
this culture and this past. Like, he took her in when, really her culture and everybody was kind of damning her.
Yeah. Yes,
and
I agree.
I don't think there's any pity there. I think it's that she met somebody where she could breathe for the first time.
Exactly.
And had the. That's
Yeah.
why.
Do you guys
know
not
what?
see-
No. Hey, hang on.
He-
I can verify
This
it
happens
with-
all the time.
No, I can verify it with the moment when she first
He's the
talked
safe
after.
choice, he's the-
No.
You're right. You're not wrong there
Yeah.
about being the
Yeah,
safe choice.
my bad.
when she first has the soup and then she can speak again and he's about to leave and then she's like, no, I want you to stay.
Yeah.
That shows.
Because he made good soup.
He didn't make the
He didn't make the soup.
Oh, no,
It was
my bad, my bad, my bad.
It was
Yeah.
Chencha.
But he felt like
Chencha's the one I want to play.
Yeah, he's like
Chencha's fun.
You were fighting for her all the
yeah.
What's her love like?
Got the woman to marry Chencha, yo.
When's Chencha getting some loving? Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Chencha, I got
look,
you.
you're not. Both of you are right. I mean, I think. I
But
think,
I'm more right?
Yeah. But I think,
Say it.
I think,
feel it out.
no. I think he represents a purity. He represents,
sure.
He represents ice while Pedro represents fire.
Yeah.
He's
he
the rebound.
represents the whatever girl has
He's the
like
rebound.
the
That's
safe
not
choice.
fair.
What do you mean
The
that's not
safe
fair?
choice.
To have a rebound, he is the rebound. But it's not fair when you have two men in your colony and that's all you have to choose from. Like that's not a
Wait,
rebound.
put it like
Well,
that.
she
Yeah,
could have
that's-
chosen the priest. The priest was
This
kind
is-
of.
The priest was ready to fuck around. Yeah, he was ready to get down. Shit.
Does Pedro have a job?
Does Pedro have a job?
Yeah, what does he do?
I don't know.
nuts,
He's a
dude.
rich kid.
He is a rich kid. He is a rich kid. You see that, by the way. You see that a lot more. Like I haven't read the book, but the
Yeah.
series.
He's a
In the
producer,
series,
you
you
know?
see that his father is of means, and
They're in politics.
True.
They're in politics.
Yeah.
And he actually in the book he went to study and he came back.
yeah. In the
okay.
series, I caught that he's like a political.
Activist.
No,
Narcissist.
he's like a little
He's an
political
activist.
badass.
But his dad represents like
The
against
contrary thing, yeah. So, but yeah, I think just the best way I can describe it is the love for each of them is fire and ice, where fire consumes her, and like literally at the end of the film, just fucking this love will consume us, and with Doc Brown probably would have lived a very long, happy, safe life.
What'd you say, Marty?
You know, I think that's what it is.
Give it another watch because the first watch was just
So,
like, what is this guy?
Sandra, is that all he's meant to be? Is he just the safe choice?
I think
Coming
so.
from a female.
And I think I don't know, comment on here, but most women have that in their life. You have the
told you.
safe choice.
I'm the safe choice.
Or,
Nah, bro, but that's
or
what
the
it has.
Yeah, we
risky
can tell by your
choice,
sweater.
Come on, bro.
Oh,
I bet you're warm at
you were the perfect choice for me.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
I think honestly, like a good, healthy love is when you have both.
in one person? Or?
In one person. In one person, though.
Oh,
yeah, in
she
one
had both?
She definitely had both.
Yeah, so is that what you're saying?
No, for you to have both in one person. Both fire and ice in one person. you know.
Fiery Latina who's cool and clean.
That's what you
all
got.
I want. yeah.
That's what I got. We got fiery Latinas and
She's scared. She's like emails.
she's like emails. You just scare me.
Who are these people?
Yeah, but no, I think that's very interesting. And again, Castro would like you would bring up in the screening like we're talking about the matches, right?
Yeah.
And her eating the matches,
Why
and you were
should
like,
you-
All this whole magical,
but there was a metaphor.
A metaphor.
That's where the magical realism sits in this film, and not just in that, but in like the food, right?
I want you to explain it because I understood, right? And, you know, if you like too many matches, you know, you could.
Combusts
Yeah.
and yeah.
So, okay, then go with the metaphor.
So think about him. That's a very interesting. His metaphor, his metaphor as ice is like, if you light one match at a time, you can feed this thing, right? But if you light all of them at once, it's too much for you to handle.
And what does that mean? Like, light them up? What do you mean?
It's like all of the passion that they felt, that he felt, like all of the passion that they felt for you. If you
okay.
just let that out,
Okay.
Which they did
which
at the
they
end of the
did,
for not
film.
like he
understanding.
died. He literally, his heart was like combusted because of this passion that they had for sure that he could finally explore.
Yeah, we've all had that, right?
And she did not want to live life without the love of her life, so she decided to die.
Yeah, by ingesting matches to like in a very
to match
literal
his,
way.
to match his combustion. To
I
match
did not
his,
get that at all.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What? Yeah, she like died.
No, yeah, for sure. But
No,
yeah, that's why she ate the matches because
Yeah.
like, oh, the metaphor that the doc told me makes sense now.
Uh-huh.
His
My bad, guys.
His
and this
flame
is
was
very
too
interesting
bright.
because the person I saw the true colors from more was Pedro. Because Pedro, he was a piece of shit. You know, like aside from anything, like he marries his sister, right? We'll start there. And then like when the doctor's curing his dumb ass for drunkenly falling into a fire,
Right.
he's like, "Oh,
Are you gonna leave?
you're staying for
he
dinner,"
didn't
you
fall
know.
in the fire. The mom came back.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Like let him on
remember?
fire. Right.
Yeah.
Another part of the kind of magical realism of like the mom.
Coming
Is
back
it her
and haunting
conscious?
her,
Is
yeah.
it surreal? Like, or is it supernaturalism? It's like,
you guys knew, but I was like, till the end, I was like, oh, she's dead.
yeah. You
But
didn't re-
I think that's a great metaphor for
Yeah.
like the whole idea of like though, and they repeat ancestors a lot, but
Yeah.
though they die, the voices stay, and that's
Yeah.
what keeps the heritage alive.
Yeah.
Like
and
this-
the good side of that for Tita was Nacha, right? Her
Her nana.
caretaker,
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
Yeah.
She raised
her nanny.
Nanny.
You know, her nanny as a kid, like that was her true kind of figure for
Yeah.
peace and love, and for like she allowed them to take walks together, you know, and that type of thing. She fueled that fire, and that's why her lighting the candles for them to, you know,
Yeah.
consummate this love finally.
Yeah.
Was symbolic
Oh, wow.
too, right? Like she lit the candles and was like,
barely there it is.
now you can be now this can be accepted, so enjoy type of thing.
I thought she just went to a corner and.
Hey, let's get it on.
Shaka.
No, but yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
Yeah,
Now
it's
that
very
makes
crazy.
sense. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like let's go into the world of you were going to do this film again.
okay, yeah. Because this is what we've been fighting for the last.
Let's go in circle. Like Castro, doing this film again. Who would you have talked to? Who would you have been like, hey, dude, I know what you're doing. Just forget that. This is what we're actually gonna do. Like, what did you feel? What would you have changed to make it punch hard? Because I think it's a good story. We all agree we love the story. But what's something you would change about the film?
No, like you said, the story's really good. Just the acting, I guess I would have made them do a little bit more research.
You would have made him act more.
Yeah, just there's some of the acting, some of the.
I'm willing to bet most of these actors came from novellas.
For sure, dude.
And you know what's funny is the male lead. He's an Italian actor, so he didn't even speak Spanish. So all of his lines were dubbed.
Oh my god.
No way.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
didn't
know
even speak
that.
Spanish. Marco Leonardi, that's his name.
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
Pedro
He was
Mosquito.
Italian?
He was
What would I
Italian,
change?
and the director's reason he's like, "Why are you
Wow.
gonna cast a guy whose voice is just gonna be fucking replaced in post?" And he's like,
He's got the
because he's
looks.
pretty.
He's
Yeah,
pretty,
dude.
because he's no. He literally said, "There's nobody as beautiful as this actor in Mexico." He
Oh,
came out in
what
Cinema
was-
Paradiso, by the way. Also, he was the teenage Toto.
Oh man.
His teenage
What
Toto.
was the thing that Castro said, like when he's like rubbing ice on himself or something like that, like eating
Oh,
a watermelon?
The watermelon scene. You were
Oh,
a fan.
It's hot. And
Yeah, even. He's like, oh, that's delicious. And then it quickly pans away from the watermelon. I'm like, Castro, like, how's it been a while, man?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's just there, like,
it's just like, and then
so
you didn't lean away from it. He's like, "Yo, fucking hey, come on, pay attention. This is fucking." No,
like
but,
I ain't gay, but okay, I'm a little gay. Now. We're just gonna be here.
well, apparently he made the director gay too, because in the sense that like the director's like, I don't care, like I'll cast this dude just for his good looks, like, and he could act, he could act, he could act. The guy.
yeah. No,
I think the performances fell flat more from like certain instances of the Doc character, certain instances of,
Okay. Let me ask this: like, you're the director; these are your actors. Who are you working with the most? Who do you feel like you need to get up to par?
I go with John Brown.
And what do you?
I know that's what they were going for. I just think he could have made the scenes or the vibe of the film a little bit more like he's not just this dumb guy.
you think he was
What
made?
would you
He
have
was made
told
the
him?
fool.
That's a really good question, man.
Yeah, like he's like, well, what am I like? Is that enough? And you're like, well, let me tell you.
Well,
this.
in the book, is he like this,
Like Mancito.
or did the director just decide to be
I
like?
mean, he's definitely very intellectual. Like he has that
And
intellect.
that's what he is too.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
But I mean, yeah, it's not about him. It's about
I don't know. I guess I would have asked him to be.
More assertive, maybe more.
like put up a fight more. Or
No,
what do you
just I think I'm with you. Like not so goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, not so goofy. Make him assertive. Make him like okay, like make him understanding and still have that warmth in him, but not like well, I'll congratulate Pedro for you. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
I also feel like he's that embodiment of like a genuine kind soul,
Yeah.
like somebody who's not out to like manipulate or like murder. And I feel like they needed his character to
That's what I
just
was
be
getting
this
to.
very.
Just because you and him look like each other doesn't mean that's what he's doing. No,
I'm just saying.
No,
I told her fine.
No,
No, but you know what?
He
I
might-
would say if I were doing that,
Yeah.
with that character specifically, I would make him stone cold hard. I would make him so hard as a character with a heart of gold.
Like clinical almost.
Like what?
Like clinical, like sterile,
Yeah.
very like
Yeah.
matter of fact, but it's like
He has a heart of gold. You see the instances where he cares.
maybe closer towards like the way his character is at the end, where he's just very still faced.
Yeah,
But,
stoic.
He does
like
change, yeah.
He like has a warmth when it comes
exactly,
to
especially when it comes to Tita.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I would have done. I would have, because you still get the intellectual factors to him. You still get that he's a smart man who knows what he wants, who already has a pre-started family, and it's implied that his wife died, and stuff like that. So like, that makes him hard. That makes any man hard. You lose
Exactly.
your wife and you got to raise your kid, and you also kind of like this culture. And I don't know if the series goes into his story at all, but I would have been like, why is he down here? What is he?
I mean, you see more of him, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I would have made him more stoic. I would have made him like a Kevin Costner type of character.
And then
or like
on the contrary, I think I would make Pedro a little bit more of an asshole.
More? Más?
So you would have had him be more of an asshole
Yeah.
to help her pull away from him?
Yeah.
what my problem with the film right now, or with his character, but there's some saying you start seeing his true colors.
Too much hair.
Too much fucking hair on that chest.
He's a sexy man.
I don't think, or maybe
I
it's
know,
just
this
because I
guy-
care
this one got me
more for
feeling
Tita,
weird.
but I don't think Pedro's redeemable character.
No.
Not in this film.
No.
And the story and the story
That's
of it
true.
all,
See,
yes.
I'm just-
But
yeah.
I don't think he's a redeemable character in the film.
Yeah,
What do you
it would
mean?
have been too much probably.
Like
It's true.
in the fact that he marries the sister, fine, whatever. You had your reason, quote unquote. But I don't believe it. But he had your reason, quote unquote.
See if
But
it works.
I'm gonna stay close to the woman I love. By the way, the dad was a shitty actor. That was bad acting.
Who's the
What
dad?
dad?
The dad of Pedro.
He only had like one
Pedro's
line.
dad?
Who was it?
That conversation between him and Pedro was really bad. That scene was bad.
Oh my God, I do remember.
That scene was bad.
Yeah, that guy, that,
That actor was bad.
when you really wanted to be with this one?
Get
yeah.
that guy out of there for sure. That guy for
Yeah.
sure.
He doesn't get any acting.
Right
tips or
for the
anything.
first take,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, man, somebody needs to talk to you all the way over there.
Yeah. Do me a favor, man. There's a coffee shop 3 blocks from here. I need you to go grab me a coffee and then find a replacement.
Close the door.
Like, yeah,
Close
just
the
lock the
door.
gates. Lock the fucking gates. No, but seriously,
But son,
I don't
I
think
thought you
Pedro,
wanted
and I don't
that
know if it's
one.
because of the actor. I don't think it's because of the actor. The actor's a good actor. I think it's because the character, the way he's performing it, he became so much of an asshole. The way he reacts to Tita in certain instances, the fact that he's not. You start seeing his redeemable qualities in the wedding of his daughter, but before that, I didn't. I kind of wanted. I wanted Tita to succeed with the doc. I didn't want. I didn't want the
Yeah.
love for Pedro wasn't enough for me.
Because it was
Yeah.
almost like the fact that
Agreed.
like he never actually like grew up and move on
Yeah.
from like this love. It's like, sure, we understand you wanted to be with her,
Yeah.
and in your maybe like almost forgivable juvenile state,
Yeah.
you married the sister thinking that was going to get you closer to her, and
Right.
like hopefully you realize what a stupid decision
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't
complicated everything.
make anything good for anybody.
You know what's interesting? What's cool about the subtext of that, and you don't really get it through the film. You get it a little more through the series. And I don't even know if you get it through the book. But the subtext of that is that he's an entitled little piece of shit because he's rich. He comes from a rich family.
Yeah,
said
that helps us to understand him more because here
he's a child. He acts like a child. So he
Yeah.
comes from entitlement, right? He acts from like.
and the fact
you
that
know.
he's always like very he's always so pissy whenever
Yeah.
he has to do anything. Like his wife had a baby. Like obviously, get over it. You had to like move on,
Yeah.
and you had to grow a relationship with this woman you married. So it's a real relationship.
Yeah.
and then you have a child, and then he's very much like, yeah. Anyway, you deal with him, and then he
Yeah.
like goes to her like. come on, why aren't we together? And it's just
Why aren't
like
we fucking.
Yeah.
But like, look at the scene where, and you
Being so
again, you
weird.
see why to an extent, but there's something about that character where they're basically saying like, yes, me and Tita are getting married, and he's like acting as the acting patriarch of this family, like, well, we approve. But like he has a glass in his hand,
Yeah,
and he's
right.
very. There was just so many qualities for me that weren't redeemable.
Oh, the
If he
fact
wasn't-
that,
if
like,
it wasn't- this wasn't being performed like he's caring for her, so he wants to make sure she's okay. He's a fucking brat.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like there's no,
Like,
I don't know, there's no redeemable factor there.
When he talks to her, like, when are you gonna tell your husband that like
Yeah.
you're having my baby?
If you don't tell him, I'll tell him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not having your baby.
That's
It's
fucking
like,
stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucking stupid as a character. Like, why would I want to root for you in that case? Like,
Yeah.
you want to ruin her life
Oh,
just for a principle?
I
Like,
think
no.
the moment that we all enjoyed is the moment when like Tita's kissing the doc and he like fades
He's like in the window.
Yeah.
he does a double take. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm leaving. Wait.
Where's this going?
Yeah.
Does he kiss better than me? Like, that's almost what he's saying,
Where's that
And
line
again,
going?
it's just I love that.
He's the kind of guy that you could imagine him on the balcony like, little weirder, and then just like walks away.
I heard this guy is small.
Yeah, and then again, I just think I think his true colors are seen where like
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, he's here for dinner. We're getting married. He brought his aunt to meet me. Like, this man loves me. Like, I'm gonna go through
And
with
he's
this.
like doing it the
And
right
he's
way.
like, yeah, he's doing it the right way. And then he's like, oh, well, fucking, you're afraid to upset your little doctor lover. And it's like, dude, grow the fuck up. Like, again, so by the time we get to the only thing that justifies it for me, the only thing that saves his character for me is time. The fact that he's older and he looks older and he's more graceful about his daughter's marrying and he's more graceful about being in kind
does
of the
at the
presence of
end.
people,
Yeah,
and he's
just
like,
a
thank you for
mustache.
coming, and he's even trying to be nice to the doc and stuff like that. That's when I was like, all right, dude, I'll let you pass, but I shouldn't. Like,
Because he
Oh,
grew
yeah.
up.
the
a
only
little.
thing,
grew
he
up.
grew up.
Yeah.
The only thing that defines it is time for me. That's the only thing that saves
But then
it.
even the conversations of like, I don't know, it's kind of like,
We should marry.
yeah, it's kind of like, well, now's the time. Your sister's dead. Yeah, like
Your farty sister's dead.
By natural causes.
When he's like trying to make the room smell better too.
Yeah.
What a dick, right? Like, just
like no,
You
but
know,
it's just like the fact that he's like, oh, but come on, like
I'd
you know,
forgot about
my
that.
kid's gone, and you're like, stupid sister's gone, and like,
we're there.
yeah, and like I'm here, you're here.
It's true, though.
It's just so like right now,
It's
you know.
true. What a pissy little fuck. Mind you, this is why I say it's not the actor's fault. This is straight up fucking directing, dude. Because this actor in Cinema Paradiso makes you fall in love with him.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, like you
Toto
could've-
from Cinema Paradiso.
You
Like,
could have really controlled how the actors give certain performances,
Yeah.
so that way.
So it's
that's directing, dude.
Yeah.
Hands down, could have been directed better. Would you have shot this differently?
Would I have shot this differently? I have to give every respect to any cinematographer who works in this industry. It's hard.
I know.
And it's also, I've embraced that, like, when you come in, as much as I think you apply your own insight and tone and everything,
For sure.
at the end of the day, I always respect the director's vision. And a lot of times I saw shots that were done here. Again, everything.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah. I feel like everything that's here, it was essential.
What did
and
Steve
I feel like
Bernstein do before this?
Huh?
No, I'm talking to us.
No, I feel like it's essential. Like, you know, again, moments when the actors are in these big swelters of emotion
Yeah.
and saying not to cry. I think it's wonderful choices like the lens choices and the lighting and the way we expose the food and the connection to the people who make it and all that.
That lacked for me. Though the scenes were so key,
Yeah.
the scenes were key to the story, to the plot.
But it fell flat.
But it fell flat for me how these characters experienced emotion through the food. Like, I
Oh,
would
like,
have
it
wasn't
emphasized.
enough?
It
I
had
would
to
have
be
emphasized
explained.
that substantial.
Yeah,
it had to be
it wasn't
explained.
enough.
It
Yeah.
had to be explained.
It had to be
Yeah.
explained, but
There had to be. Don't get me wrong. It adds to the feel of the film too. But there had to be narration. Without the narration, it's like. the fuck is going
Yeah,
on?
that
Yeah.
was a little lost in that. Yeah,
The only
Yeah.
place I feel like it does that really well is at the end. You know, they all just want to fuck, and
Yeah,
you see
well,
that
yeah.
right away.
No,
the
but
face just-
it only does that because we're already kind of like used to the notion that that's what happens. Like she's so impactful in the way she makes food, it affects people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and-
the art.
but again, we've seen that from the beginning. That by the time it hits the end, we're like, oh, okay,
You
she
know
just
what?
she's in this new swelter of passion.
Yeah.
But I do feel like every shot, I don't think it's I didn't see it being like a DP not trying or a DP not putting intentionality into these shots or trying to make the best that they could be. You can see the artistic genius, especially with stuff like up at the top of the chicken coop and the light coming through and
Sure. I'm a
like
little bit-
highlighting her. It's just,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful shot.
yeah, when she's all naked.
So you see what it can be.
yeah, you
see-
wonder what freedoms they have too, right? Because
Yeah.
like somebody like Chivo,
Yeah.
being that young and being that kind of green, like he's probably not gonna be like saying much. He's gonna be
Exactly.
like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
honor this. And Steve Bernstein, we met him. He was a little more like assertive and like, I'm gonna make these choices, and this is what American cinema would probably
Yeah.
do, or this is what a studio picture is probably gonna do. And mind you, like we ended up discovering that Steve Bernstein went on to do like very high grossing comedies like White Chicks and shit like that. So like there's a utility in that, and
Yeah.
then you see that's interesting. You see somebody like Steve Bernstein make the choice to say like, and he even said like, I'm gonna go do these comedies with the Wayne brothers, because
Yeah.
he did like Don't Be a Menace, I think, and he did like all these films too, and then go on to make his own films that have more artistic merit, in my opinions, and be a director.
Yeah.
And then you had Chivo right off the bat be like, I don't want to do that shit. I'm gonna go develop a voice
Yeah.
and really develop and
'Cause-
take risks cinematically. That Chivo did it.
Yeah.
Because I think even when we talk to
Take risk.
like
It was just
Bernstein,
scary.
as a cinematographer, I feel like he knew how to accomplish the goal of the director,
Yeah.
and whatever the director provides, he's willing to follow you to the T.
Well, he
And-
did.
and
He was
I-
also the DP of Monster, right? An Academy Award-winning film. He
Yeah.
talked to us a little bit about that. So
And I feel like when you see this, I don't know. Maybe I just, instead of seeing more of a voice of the DP, I did see more of a voice of the director.
Yeah.
As opposed to like when we look at like Chivo's work, like
Yep.
I see
Well,
more
that's a
of the
good way to put it.
yeah, I see more of the
Yeah.
voice of like the cinematographer
I'll
coming on in.
say the same
like
thing I
that.
said. I'll say the same thing
That's
I
the
said
perfect way
in
to say
for
it.
Truman Show. I think we see the voice of the studio more.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, now see, I
It's not the
understand that
director
a little bit more.
because IP. This is such a beloved IP in Mexico that we're like, oh no, this can make money. People
Yeah.
like this story. Let's just do the safe thing. I think we get the voice of the studio more
that's
than we
cool.
get the voice of
You
any
gave me a whole different
artist.
perspective. That is true.
You know,
Because
Yeah.
none of the shots are bad. Even the
No,
shots
they're not,
of
they're
like what is it called that we're saying are out of focus. I mean, they're done so well and
Yeah.
lit perfectly that you get everything you need to get from those shots.
that's
And-
where you forgive technology a little more.
Yeah.
Because this was 92 and they're shooting on celluloid. Of course, they're shooting on film.
Right.
And they're shooting against natural light. And they're shooting at a. I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's where you forgive certain
Outside.
things a little more, especially technology. Like, if it's out of focus and we got 3 takes that day and the sun was going down, well, fuck it. We're going with the one that works
Austin,
emotionally.
what was the budget on this one? If you can search, please. It can't be more than
10 million?
10?
Maybe? I'd say 10.
15,000 pies.
This is 92.
While he's looking that
10 is
up,
a lot.
would you do anything differently?
With the movie?
Yes.
Well,
More nude men.
2 million.
I'm telling you, bro.
2 million?
It didn't
Shot
seem
in
like
Mexico.
That's like
I
what?
thought it was shot in various
200
locations.
pesos?
It was, but it was mostly shot in Mexico,
2
Coahuila.
milli, bro.
Coahuila.
Yeah.
You
I
could definitely
think I
tell,
would've
and that's not a
liked
bad thing.
You go past Texas.
To
It was
see
shot on location.
more the food.
Yeah,
The food.
for sure.
Yeah, that definitely.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the metaphor of por agua para chocolate, I don't think that metaphor comes through in like the film as much. Like you would have to really dive into
Do you guys
it.
know what the metaphor is?
Like water for chocolate.
Go ahead.
The
No,
metaphor. Okay, go ahead. Go on. Come on. Come on.
Dude, my brain is going like.
I had it earlier, but it
I
was
think
like
the
in the
best
restroom.
example we got well, from just my opinion, with the food was when she got the roses and then it cut her and the passion.
The blood. Her blood, literally.
Yeah, right. And what that did to Pedro, and then how the mom was like, "It's too salty," and whatever, right? Yeah. I think that was just the best example that we got, or the best shot with the food. Yeah. And I did feel wanting more of like, hey.
No, I agree. I agree. Those are my primary. Oh, look, there's a scene.
Yeah.
The title, like Water for Chocolate. By the way, go to the trivia too, please, because there's a one in there that tells you the different title. They had to change the title depending on the culture. In this case, like Water for Chocolate, the Spanish como agua para chocolate. The metaphor there is when you make hot chocolate, the water has to be at a specific boiling point. It has to be at a very specific boiling point for the chocolate to be submerged. So that is kind of attesting to the passion. It has to be at a certain temperature, at a certain kind of set of passion for.
You're right on it. It says the title also alludes to the boiling point of water, which symbolizes the intensity of the novel's emotions. Which is,
in the novel, I know this because we just saw it yesterday. In the novel literally, and I think the series does this too. The novel lists the ingredients of each of the dishes.
Oh,
per
nice.
chapter. That's divided by chapter. And each chapter is the ingredients of the dish.
And the preparation.
Like how to prepare the dish.
Yeah.
It's like a cookbook. And again, they didn't emphasize that. We forgot about the beginning. We forgot about the ending because that's what she was trying to say. Like, in this fire of love, the only thing that was left was this powerful cookbook. Oh, fucking cook. Why didn't you mention the cookbook before, bitch? Like, I don't remember that.
That's all
it's very frustrating. Those are the things that could have been substantially done better.
Sorry.
But anyways, the title actually in France had to be renamed to Bitter Chocolate in France, so people could get the point. In Poland, Quails and Rose Petals was the title. In Japan, The Legend of the Rose Petal Sauce. You know, like Water for Chocolate doesn't translate in other cultures, and it barely translates in English. Like,
it does.
It's a very Spanish, like, you know, como agua para chocolate. I also, like, I didn't, in my head years ago when I saw it, processed it more like the thickness of the two. And how chocolate is sweet, but it's thicker and hardier and like kind of tougher to get through, but it's good. And water's healthy, and water's like
water.
something that you could just process. That's how I took it initially before I
I can see that. I wouldn't make fun of you said that.
Like because in recipes you replace, like when you read a recipe, it'll tell you like, oh, if you don't want this ingredient, you can substitute it for this ingredient. That's how I took the title. Like Water for Chocolate. Like, instead of chocolate, use water because it's healthier for you. Like, that's literally... And to make hot chocolate, by the way, you either make it with milk or water.
Yeah.
Or
but the traditional way is con agua.
Yeah. So, again, it's that, like, you can replace ingredients of your life and see which one's better for you. Chocolate's not good for you, even though it tastes good, and maybe that's where that passion lies. Yeah, this dude is the love of your life and the passion... But he's gonna you're gonna die. Like, you're gonna die engulfed in this passion. You know.
I always thought it was like Water for Chocolate. I almost assumed was like on a how somebody reads one thing or like sees a person, and with them that could be like their passion and love, and to another person that's an obstacle. You know, like for where one person can see water, the other person can see chocolate.
Yeah.
Somebody could see something sweet, somebody can see something bitter. I saw it almost like that because
like
it's interesting for every dynamic, and you get a lot of like novela, I guess, kind of like stories or culture. Is where one character to somebody can be the most important character to the other person. That's their nemesis, their worst nightmare. You know, and you see that a lot here.
What does that mean? Does that mean water is the enemy? Like that? What is?
No. Like water's neutral and doesn't have a lot of flavor. Chocolate's creamy and it brings out excitement. You know.
Yeah.
Also, like it's an aphrodisiac.
It is. It is
and
very much.
I saw a lot of aphrodisiac.
Oh, that's for damn sure.
Right now.
Yo, why did this film make both of you gay? Like, what's the
Hey, man, I saw the food and I had something happen.
I saw the watermelon and the
You
dude.
leave my little chocolate alone, okay?
You leave my chocolate chip alone. You hear me?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, great.
That was
Hey,
fun.
man, I really love this film. It's an interesting watch
Is
for sure.
fun a bad term? Should we get rid of fun from movies?
I think we should get rid of fun for a little while. I think we should use
but
fun.
this was so
I
much
said fun? My bad.
fun. No.
No, he said fun.
didn't.
Oh, okay,
Michael
okay.
did.
I think we
Yeah.
should use fun when that's all we got out of it. That's all we got out of
No,
it.
but like, I mean, I just had such a good ride off
That's
of the
different.
film.
That's different than saying, well, that was fun.
That was fun.
I don't like it. I don't like that.
I don't like fun either.
Like,
Yeah,
it
I
was
like
such how stupendously enjoyable.
Yeah, you see, there we go.
There you go.
Dick?
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Did
No,
anybody's
rating changes?
rating change?
Nah, mine
No,
went.
I'm at a
mine,
7.7.
yeah,
I'm
like water for
comfortable
chocolate,
there.
man. Just
Yeah,
7.4.
worth a watch. Definitely worth
Definitely
a
worth
watch.
the watch.
Yeah.
Definitely worth the
Read
watch.
the book.
Oh, yeah.
Watch the series.
Read the
Yeah,
book.
no,
And
everybody
actually,
told me
we
read
were at
the
Barnes
book.
& Noble yesterday, and it was there's a commemorative, I don't know, like 15th or 30th anniversary book or something. They just re-released the novel.
An
Nice.
exclusive
Oh, really?
Barnes
An
&
exclusive
Noble.
Barnes & Noble, like, yeah. So check it out.
In Spanglish?
Catch that.
In Spanglish. We saw them both in Spanish. I was actually shocked that I couldn't find an English version of this book. Like,
No, but
we went to
why?
two different bookstores.
Why?
I was like, why? No.
No,
Yeah.
it's just interesting. I mean, because other people should be able to read it too.
Yeah.
That's not just
But
Mexicans.
you know, in translation, everything gets lost.
It
everything
does,
gets
it
mixed up.
does.
No. See it the real way.
Yeah.
So please make it one day.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Hear me out, Disney.
What?
Disney owns Miramax.
If
and
there's
Miramax owns
anybody
this. So.
that can recreate it, make it better,
Would they be the one to get the rights from?
this dude right here.
I'd love to make this. I don't know if the
fellow
author still
gentleman
holds the
right
rights.
here.
I hope she does.
You have the Pedro Musquiz and you have Dr. Brown.
Yeah, who you want to play? You want to play Pedro Muskis?
La mamá. You want to play la mamá?
I'll make.
But
Bro,
anyway, I'll be a bitch.
hey, fuck around with me. I'll make you Chencho. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I'll be the male fucking chencha, bro. Fuck yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I know.
She finally got married,
Oh,
though.
that's an interesting take.
She did.
What take, if any, does the male perspective offer in this? Should there be any more?
You should
male
have just
input?
kidnapped her and
Yeah, just what? Yeah,
Just
we
kidnap
don't
her.
see much of that.
Well, I mean, I think
Oh.
what's odd is that if you look at it from like the male point of view, I mean, it's just kind of like they're only there to pick and choose what they want, and they get it. And when
The
they-
series gives you a little more of that. The series gives you more of like why Pedro is the way he is, where they're coming from, the kind of backdrop of the Mexican Revolution. You get a little more of that.
You told me you were going to explain to me why the mom was such a...
Well, the film does that for you. You didn't like it, but it does explain it to you.
What was it?
That
she herself
too,
didn't.
Yeah, she too was in a love triangle. She too fucked around.
She had an illegitimate. Like,
She had an illegitimate child.
I got that.
but
Yeah,
like,
but
that's
you
why
were
she's-
already saying like I don't care what the reason.
Yeah.
For you, it was like seeing a fucking person kick a dog. Like you're like I don't care if the dog was attacking you. You fucking kicked it.
'Cause it-
So like you were already going in with that mentality.
It's like overall, it's like whatever happened to your past, don't bring it to the future.
I
Or
agree.
To the, to the
This
present,
was
I
no-
guess.
But that's what
1910.
that's what tradition is.
Yes.
Tradition
So-
is
That's why I loved it. That's why I was
Yeah.
mad. That's why I like what
Let
the
me
director
tell
did.
you, in the series, why the mom hates Tita so much.
Okay, thank you.
That
It's because she's the illegitimate child.
No. Gertrudis has always been,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
She's a bitch.
we all know that Elena was married and she had Rosaura, which was the perfect child, right? The first one. Then
The first
she
one.
did have an affair with her true love, and there was Gertrudis. So her husband at that time found that out and raped her, and that's how Tita was born.
She was a rape child. That's interesting.
So
That's a little
That's
bit more.
really
okay.
interesting.
That's why
Okay.
she hates Tita
Yeah.
so much, and that's why if you remember at the opening scene of the movie when she's giving birth in the kitchen table,
Yeah.
right, with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
onions,
Yeah.
there was so much pain and there's so much water, tears, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then they picked up la sal or the salt, so that's why she doesn't like Tita.
Yeah.
Because like it reminds her of like
But that's still
I was
messed
about
up.
to run away with.
The man I
Gertrudis'
love.
dad,
Yeah.
and then I was married,
Yeah.
and
But that's not.
But you
Tita's
see, that's what
fault.
I'm saying. That's
That's
no,
not Tita's
it's
fault.
not. It's not.
Well,
but
yeah.
again, it humanizes the
But
character.
Yes, absolutely.
It humanizes the
yeah.
character a little more.
I
He
get
does
that
a
now.
memory of what could have
Yeah.
and what
Because
didn't.
she-
I
right?
appreciate
that's what
that
I'm
little
saying,
extra
but-
info.
Yeah.
That's
That
what I'm saying.
does-
But you get a touch of that here. That she wasn't crying over Tita's father. That's not what's locked away in her little
No.
thing. The the photograph of the, man
photograph.
was get through
Gertrude's dad.
And then also,
That's the true love.
also you
So
get
she was
the
crying over her
sense
true
of,
love, and when she leaves, when she runs away, she cries for her, despite the fact of being so like, I burned all your records and fuck you,
Yeah.
you're not my daughter anymore. She goes to her bedroom and cries for her love child.
So also
you know?
in the series, the preferred child is Gertrudis because I mean that's the child of your
That's the-
true love.
yeah.
And
Yeah, there's some
Rosaura,
favoritism
the
there.
first child, turns out to be like, oh, you're just stupid.
Yeah.
Like
I will
Oh,
say
you
this, so
just-
like
yeah.
in Mexican
Okay,
culture,
Okay.
in Mexican culture, the firstborn can do no wrong.
Isn't it the last one?
Now,
Sedan.
No,
It's like the last one thing is like we don't have time for you.
yeah. You're also kind of the love child. Like the baby's always kind of sometimes
True.
the love child, but the first one is like, this one went through the shit with me. So
Exactly.
like this one's
Okay, I was gonna say that. True.
Yeah, that's very interesting. To finish off this episode, I want to tell a story that I read about that I thought was pretty fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
In the making of the film, they shot on location,
Yeah.
Texas Mexican border. I think they spent 7 weeks on the location or something like that. And well, anyways,
Siete semanas.
so what's crazy about this is this: there's a young man who's hanging around the set. He's not part of the crew, not part of the cast. He's just hanging out,
All right.
observing. They let him hang out because this man, this Texas boy, said, "I want to make movies one day," and just hung out because he was getting ready to make his first feature film. This guy was Robert Rodriguez.
No!
He's just hanging out on set
There's
of
no
like Water
way
for
this
Chocolate.
is real, dude. This is one of
That's
those.
right there. Aspiring filmmaker from
Nah,
Texas who
bro, I
was
always
not
take this with a grain
involved
of
with the
salt.
project. Spent time on set because he was in town shooting for a small budget, full-length feature film for the Spanish home video market. That young filmmaker was
Have
Robert
Robert
Rodriguez.
confirmed this?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
In fact, it's in his book. I've read his book.
Because this is Hollywood. I mean, obviously, this sounds like, but
No, he spent a lot of time down there, and
really,
yeah.
wow, what a small world.
That's so nice.
Robert Rodriguez spent time like looking at this, like, all right, I could probably do this. Like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's
while
cool.
he
That-
was making his film.
That's awesome.
Wow.
If it's real, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
That
for
goes
you
to show everybody out
filmmakers
there,
out
yeah,
there,
if
Mr.
you're just-
Rodriguez was on set trying to get inspired to make his own picture.
well, what a serendipitous ride this was.
There we go.
Do the
Serendipitous?
thing again.
It's better than fun.
It is better than fun, but double take. Did this film make you double take?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Like Water for Chocolate, ladies and
Like
gentlemen. Go
Water
watch,
for
check it
Chocolate.
out if you can find it. It's also very hard to find. Not
It
for
is?
us. But if you want to buy the
Oh.
Blu-ray or something like that, it's non-existent.
But it's not like on Netflix and
I don't think so. I
There's
don't
no
think
streaming?
Well, the
Voodoo?
series is on
the series is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah,
or
but-
Max.
No, it was on Prime.
Oh, I don't know. One of those.
I know because I got
Austin,
upset.
is there
I was
anywhere
going
to
to
stream
go
this?
tell Prime to let me make the movie.
MGM Plus has it right now.
That's Prime's
MGM.
streaming
So
service.
many apps.
Well,
Get
one
outta
of
here.
Prime's streaming service. So we're gonna finalize Requester Month next week.
Ooh.
I have no idea what we're doing. We have a plan. We don't know if that plan's going to come to fruition. You'll find out next week. We may or may not have a special guest.
I don't even know about
come
this.
in the studio and pick a film for us.
of a
So
hat?
we'll go with that explanation.
I like it. I like keep it mysterious.
Then we got to start getting into Oscars territory. So we'll get excited for that. We'll be covering the Oscars February and March, basically. We'll do our Oscars recap. We'll do our Oscars preview episode. And then we'll talk about some of our favorite kind of nominated films and stuff like that, I think. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Let us
doesn't
know what
take
you want
much.
us to cover down the line. I was looking at our calendar for the podcast, and I'm getting excited, man, because we're going to get into some crazy
Same,
territories. We're
same.
going to be doing our tour months. We're going to be doing some really special kind of episodes. So stay tuned for all that.
Thank you, Sandra, for coming
yeah.
on your
Happy
birthday.
Thank you guys for my cake and for
course.
watching this film. Love
Oh
you
no,
guys.
it was a joy.
And thank you every week for letting us borrow that one.
Yeah, of course. I want to give a shout out to my bestie, Gabby. I promised her I was going to give her a
snap.
shout
What up,
out.
Gabby?
I miss
Ain't
her.
it a shame that we censored
Has she
her
seen
name?
this?
'Cause-
You should ask her. You should tell her to watch the film and then watch the podcast.
I know,
At
right?
least
Yeah, no, I'm
like.
kidding. You should be honest. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you guys for tuning into the WatchTower Film Podcast. Let us know what you guys want us to cover next for
Don't
your
be shy.
requests.
You know,
And
send it.
stay tuned for next week. We'll close it off for Requester Month.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Love you guys.